Last night, Eskom warned the public to get their candles ready after several generation units broke down. The power utility warned that it may have to implement load shedding at short notice. For the latest on the units that broke down, I'm joined now by Eskom spokesperson Daphne Mokwena. Should we still, Daphne, get our candles ready?
Good afternoon, Vuyo, and good afternoon to your viewers. So, Vuyo, we had issued an alert, a high-risk alert yesterday, and that was because we had lost about 6 generation units, which constituted about 3,500 megawatts within 12 hours yesterday. And that meant that our system then became very constrained in a sense that if we had to lose additional 800 megawatts, we were going to, load shed at stage 2 or up to stage 2. So since then, or since last night, or since the peak period last night, we have recovered about 2,700 megawatts. In as much as we have recovered those megawatts, and in as much as the system is stable as I speak to you now, we still maintain that the system is still vulnerable or it's still constrained. And we really urge South Africans that towards the peak hour, the peak hours, which is from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock or between 5 and 9 at the most, if they can also assist by reducing or just using electricity sparingly. So, but other than that, Vuyo, we also still reiterate the fact that we want the South Africans will never experience that frequency of load shedding that they experienced in 2025. As you would know that we've spent about 96% of the time this year without load shedding as compared to about 9% last year.
Would that comfort people who look back and say, we haven't finished the first quarter of the year, and already we have had, 4 load shedding declarations?
Yes. Yeah, I think if you look at where we're coming from, and I think maybe as South Africans, in as much as we understand that, load shedding is a very painful experience because no one really wants to be out of electricity. We know the importance of electricity and what role it plays in our lives and in the economy as well. But when you look at where we're coming from with our implementation of the Generation Operational Recovery Plan, I think we have made good strides looking at, as I said, that yesterday, for example, we were sitting at about 348 days without load shedding compared to last year where we had 329 days where we had to load shed for in a 365-day period or in a year. So our year starts in March. Our year starts on the 1st of April. So this is the last quarter, and we really apologize for having to expose the South Africans to this bout, the 4 bouts of load shedding, which were short bouts, but as you said that they are, or as I have confirmed, that load shedding, whether it's a day, just not having electricity, whether it's load shedding or just normal outages, it's just something that as Eskom we wouldn't want South Africans to experience.
Some experts have started speculating over whether there is a new set of challenges or there are new issues that were not there before, that perhaps no one or few may have put a finger on.
I think in as much as, one doesn't want to, ponder on this much, but the fact of the matter is our planned maintenance has increased. We have intensified that. And the reason for us to intensify planned maintenance is to prepare for winter, one. Two, it is also, as you would know, that we've got a very reliable unit at Quebec, which is about 1,000 megawatts, or to be exact, about 930 megawatts. That is off, that has been off since January. And that has been off because we have taken it off for planned maintenance to refuel that unit, also to make sure that we comply with the regulations as per the long-term operation of that unit, as we had been given the license to operate it for another 20 years. Now, the other dilemma also that we had since January, we took out at Kusile, Kusile is one also of our flagship stations, which it's very reliable. However, from January, we took Unit 3 out. Remember, we once had those 3 units out at Kusile, where we had an issue with the flue gas desulfurization technology. So we have now, because we had agreed with the Minister of DFFE that we will have repaired that FGD by the end of March, and we'll have returned those units back into their old or their original stacks, so that we can then lessen the sulfur dioxide that we emit to the atmosphere. So based on that, since January, we took out Kusile Unit 3, which is 800 megawatts, and then we returned it after relinking it to the FGD. And immediately after we had completed Unit 3, we then took Unit 2 out, which is currently still off. We're working on it to also relink it to the FGD. And once that is off, which is towards the end of the month, we'll be taking Unit 1 out. So based on that as well, those not unfortunate, but it is planned maintenance that we had to deal with to comply with the environmental conditions, to comply with the regulatory compliance of the LTO. We needed this maintenance, which added to our normal planned maintenance. And unfortunately, there's about, as I speak, 800 megawatts plus 1,000 megawatts, about 1,800 megawatts that is out, that unfortunately we didn't have any choice but to take out those megawatts. And we will be bringing back Kusile. All the units will be back on in June. That is that Unit 1 that I just spoke about, it will be back in June. And then Unit 1 at Quebec will only be back in July. So, and now, and on Sunday, we did announce that we have synchronized Unit 6 at Kusile, which was the last unit, and that unit is the first time that is connected to the grid, giving us, it's an 800 megawatt unit. Currently, we are ramping it up. Once we have ramped it up, it will give us the 800 megawatts, but that won't be a constant 800 megawatts or continuous 800 megawatts, as we have said that in the next 6 months, starting from Sunday, we will be doing what we call on-load grid compliance testing. And those tests, in as much as we will be getting the 800 megawatts, but now and then that unit will be taken off the grid to do to continue with those tests. But those are the things that we have done. We're expecting Unit 4 at Medupi. Remember that unit also has been long been taken off the grid because of the generator status that we lost in 2021. So we've repaired that, or we are almost at the last stages of repairing that. We are looking at by the end of April that we should have repaired that unit, and we're looking at also synchronizing that 800 megawatt unit back into the grid.
And just to be sure, there are no problems of your own making, such as staffing issues that you may not be talking about, or the fact that you don't seem to have sufficient reserve capacity?
Look, now and then you'll have, your people moving within the business, but it's not at an alarming stage where it is the issue currently. But you'll have one person leaving because either it's just natural attrition. However, at this stage, we don't have that issue. But I think now that you have, obviously asked me that question, I think from Eskom side, we also just need to just also just up also our game in terms of how we do things as well, because to tell you the honest fact, our generation operational plan, as we had implemented that plan, has resulted in the desired results. But obviously we've been saying to the country that we are not out of the woods yet, as we have always said that load shedding has been suspended but not ended as yet. But obviously with the 4 bouts of load shedding, surely we could have improved in the way we run our operations, and there are lessons learned from those issues that we have picked up that had led us to those incidents, and we are working on them, and to ensure that with us adding the additional capacity, which from our strategic objectives that we wanted to add about 2,500 megawatts, we do that. And whilst we do that, we're also not complacent in how we do things, and we up our game in terms of how we run our operations. We learn from these incidents that we had, and we improve our operations to ensure that that day where we then come to and face the public and South Africans to say, now we've ended load shedding. We should be not very far from that announcement once we have done all the things that are aligned in our plans.
That's where we're going to leave it for now. Daphne Mokwena, thank you very much for your time as the spokesperson for Eskom.